He's going to be on the commentary team at this, I don't know, is it TNA / Global Force Wrestling / whatever Jeff Jarrett owns / that thing on the TV Guide Network. They have a pay-per-view called Slammiversary. Nobody buys it. I don't know if anybody watches it even for free. But he's going to be on the commentary team for all of the matches. He's the new owner, one of those. So what do you think about Robert Flores on the commentary team, buying or selling this?
I'm selling it. I think he's really annoying. And, yes, I guess on Twitter his handle is apparently Roflo, so I guess there is some substance to what Brandon says.
Thank you. I always – hey, it's not fake news. I always fact-check stuff.
Okay,
guys.
I don't think that if you give yourself a nickname that it becomes – that it sticks, but regardless.
No,
I
that's
think
what
Robert Flores, I've heard him before in debates and things of that nature, and he's kind of catty and pathetic. I don't like him as a sportscaster. I don't really like him at all as a person. So, no, I kind of think he's a douche. But
that's nice.
And, there's a reason he left ESPN, and it's not because he walked.
I have to agree with you there about one thing. And that's, you shouldn't be giving yourself a nickname. Icebreaker.
That's what he did. He definitely did.
Well, he got called that from people at ESPN. I'm telling you that, guys. He didn't come up with it on his own. Hey, just like the Icebreaker moniker was not created by myself as much as you guys may think. I do have a few buddies at the old, a little shout out to my friends at the Supermix OCC radio station. A couple guys back in the day, they know who they are. They listen to the show. They were the ones that came up with my nickname. Just throwing it out there. Fact check that.
All right. I am going to answer the question myself. I am going to buy this, sort of. Okay, so I'm going to buy this. Let's, sorry, I was, felt like I was in a game show there, like Deal or No Deal or something.
He's falling asleep too, Paul.
I'm going to buy this because I don't want to see this in WWE. I'd rather see this in TNA because I'd rather.
Why not? He's a good commentator.
Because I'd rather them work the bugs out of him being a commentator before he came over to WWE. Because if he's not any good in TNA, then he doesn't have to come over. So this is great, using TNA kind of like as an NXT for commentators. Let's see how he does.
That's nice.
Let's buy this. Let's see how he does, and then we can know more going forward.
So you think if he does a good job, you might get a call from WWE? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think we're going to get a call from WWE if he does a good job. Because I think Vince is one of those stuck in his ways type person.
Did you guys see that Mauro Ranallo is
going... Hey, don't jump into that. That is going to be on the tweet of the week. I just want a little teaser. Sorry, not to cut you off, but that's a...
No, thank you.
We'll get to that later. That's a little tweet of the week thing, so we'll check that out in the next segment. Sorry, Paul.
Seeing that we keep stuff secret from each other, I just ruined... Well, I was getting very excited, and then Brandon just shot us right... down.
Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to wait till the. We'll talk more about that tweet of the week. I think.
I'm sorry. I didn't see it in the paperwork. I'm reading the rundown as we see it, and it's not in the rundown.
We should have to publish what our tweets of the week are.
Yeah. Well, mine was the last minute thing today, but I found it very interesting.
That's how
the tweet of the week.
That's how that works.
The tweet of the week is usually.
We got to stay up to date. We got to stay current.
Yes.
We can't just have our tweet of the week. It could change on a minute-to-minute basis.
Sorry, we keep it real, people.
But
don't defend this guy.
Speaking of tweets of the week, we got that. But more importantly, the Money in the Bank rundown is coming up right after this break. You are listening to the Heels of the Face podcast on Sports War Radio, Rat Pack Radio, and now on iTunes.
The New York Jets are rising and are ready to compete in the AFC. Boyd Green and Ty Butler will give you everything you need to know about the Jets every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. From reviewing the previous game and looking ahead to the next matchup, to all of the news and 4 downs, the Jet Zone has everything. Follow at BoydGreen25 and at Ty D. Butler on Twitter. Proud member of Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
This program is simulcast on WRPR Rat Pack Radio. Go to ratpacksports.com for more information.
Do you want to stay up to date on the latest sports news, come check out After the Whistle from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday night. We talk about the NHL, we talk about the NFL, we talk about the MLB, you name it, we got it. Tune in on Sports War Radio.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Now is the time to get your voice heard. Sports War Radio is now accepting applications for driven and knowledgeable sports fans who want to start their very own podcast about their favorite team. Sports War Radio has an international audience and is growing fast. Don't miss the chance to become the go-to news source for your favorite team. Email sportswarradio@gmail.com and tell us why you would be a great addition to our team. Sports War Radio. Let the battle begin.
Let's get back to the action. This is the Heel to the Face podcast on Sports War Radio.
I wish I found some better sounds no one's ever heard. I wish I had a better voice to sing some better words. I wish I found some chords.
All right, we are back on this week's edition of Heel to the Face podcast. And it is time now for our pay-per-view rundown, as we are going to tell you what we think is going to happen this Sunday at Money in the Bank, the SmackDown presentation, Money in the Bank pay-per-view from the Scottrade Center in St. Louis, Missouri, live on the WWE Network. And let's get things started off with the women's Money in the Bank match. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina Snuka, a.k.a. SmackDown's Nia Jax, and Carmella. Now, I heard some rumors this week because WWE.com and WWE's Twitter account put out a tweet that said 6 men and 6 women are vying for Money in the Bank this Sunday. But if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women have been announced. Some rumors are that maybe Nikki Bella is going to join that group. But let's stick with the 5 that we have. And if you want to pick Nikki Bella, that's fine. But let's stick with the 5 that we have for the most part. And who you got?
I'm going to go Charlotte Flair. I know, Paul. I know. That's who you're probably going with. That's your girl. I know. I'm not. I like her, but I'm still a Bayley guy. Charlotte Flair, I think, wins the match.
I couldn't disagree more with you, Brandon. I am not picking Charlotte Flair. If they go with Charlotte Flair, I think it's a travesty because I feel like the Money in the Bank is not supposed to reward already brand-name superstars. I feel like it's supposed to be an opportunity to... It's the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, except,
so
are you
going Tamina?
Yes, that's exactly where I'm going. I think it's super amplified. I think this is supposed to be a launching pad. I think that, the kind of the Money in the Bank and the ideology of Money in the Bank, sure, it kind of goes with Charlotte Flair and what she is, but I think it really meshes well with Tamina and her character, and just, like, if Tamina's music hits in an opportune situation, like the crowd reaction, whenever that happens in the next 12 months, is just going to be nuts. I think they're going to be like, oh my God. Like, I think there's an extra, beyond the fact of Money in the Bank is always just cool, that, like, what if we were just happened to be on the Raw or SmackDown where it just happened? Like, I think that would be nuts. I think it would be crazy. So, for me, I'm going with Tamina. And I hope that they don't go with, like, a Charlotte Flair, because, again, I want to see this as a launching pad for somebody. I don't want it to just be regurgitated with, like, a Charlotte Flair, even though I am a huge Charlotte Flair
Here's what
fan.
I think is going to happen. Or, anything can happen. But here's what I'd like to see happen. I think it'd make a lot of sense. I'd like to see Natalya win this, and then Naomi keep her belt, and then, not as a surprise, but Natalya, let's say at SummerSlam, that she is going to cash in the Money in the Bank and challenge. So it'd be more like a number one contendership. She's not going to make the surprise cash in. She's going to announce it.
Then?
And then Natalya versus Naomi, kind of a friend versus friend match, at SummerSlam for that women's championship.
Yeah.
I feel that they've been holding
cashed in.
I feel they've just been holding Natalya back for way too long.
Yeah, but why would you do it like that? I mean, the whole premise of the Money in the Bank is, like Paul said, it's like you're unexpected. You could be at a Raw or SmackDown, so to speak, and it's like you never know. It could be any night. That's why I like that.
If I'm going off, if it's going to be somebody that's going to surprise and win, not surprise and win this match, but surprise and challenge for the women's belt, then I would go with Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch, because they're the only two that I feel if their music hit and they ran to the ring and kind of stole that women's belt, that it would have like some sort of impact. Like when Becky Lynch's music hit, like people are like if it's, let's say it's a heel, let's say it's Lana's the champion, and Becky Lynch, everyone loves Becky Lynch. You hear her music hit, it's like that the Rock style of music, or that Stone Cold glass break, where when you hear her music, like Carmella, when you hear her music hit, you're not like jumping out of your seat. You're not like, all right, we're back. Here we go. Time for a big match. Here's Carmella's music. You're like,
That's why I think Charlotte.
And that's what I get about Tamina's music, and that's really what I get about Natalya's music. So I think Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair both have that dramatic musical entrance that if either a face is the champion, then Charlotte Flair's music's going to hit, and it's going to be kind of that Money in the Bank cash in, or vice versa. If it's a heel that's champion, Becky Lynch's music's going to hit, and she's going to come out and save the belt. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go on Natalya winning and then kind of announcing that she's going to cash in the Money in the Bank. And here's the thing. I understand we're going to have a women's Money in the Bank champ and a men's Money. I don't feel that like two people on the same show are going to be walking around with briefcases for very long. Not because just because it's a silly thing. The Money in the Bank thing, it's fine. It's a great gimmick for one person
for the show, though.
But having two people walk around with the same gimmick, essentially.
Yeah, but it's intrigue.
Because it's a gimmick. When you're the Money in the Bank, when Edge was the Money in the Bank holder, it was his gimmick. It was the gimmick that he was going to cash in, and he held that briefcase for a year. So that was part of his gimmick. When he came out, he was always reminding,
but Charlotte, if she has it, she's not going to. Charlotte has her own gimmick,
So I just feel
with the Money in the Bank, it'd be fine.
I just feel if we have two people walking around for a decent amount of time, so I feel like the men whoever wins the men is going to do more of the surprise, and whoever wins the women is just going to treat it like a number one contendership and going to relinquish it very quickly. I think one's going to relinquish it very quickly, and one's going to have it for a little bit longer of a time to kind of build up. I don't feel that they're both going to stretch this out. I don't think for like 7, 8 months, we're going to have two people on SmackDown walking around with the same gimmick of, I'm the Money in the Bank holder. I don't think that's going to happen. So let's move on to the Tag Team Championship match. The Usos, the champions. Who knew? I forget all the time that they're even still on the shows. They're defending the belts against the New Day. Do you think the New Day are going to recapture the Tag Team Championships this time on SmackDown?
No. I think the Usos are going to keep it. That's just my thing. I don't think the New Day are going to be champions. I'll just keep it simple.
Couldn't disagree more with you there, Brandon, and that seems to be a theme of this episode and life. But and here's why. I think the Usos, with their whole tagline, the Uso Penitentiary and the whole, we've swept the tag team division. If they beat the New Day, they have truly swept the division, and I think, again, it builds into this whole rivalry thing that they have created the brand. You've gotten the shock factor of the Usos winning, and there was a chance to kind of give it to the Fashion Police and give them a little shock factor run. WWE decided against doing that. I think to create this rivalry and maybe some beef between the Usos and the New Day, which they've had some interesting diatribes back and forth, I think that's been really unique. I think the New Day wins it here. Again, the comeback factor, I think the New Day takes this.
Yeah, I think the New Day takes it too. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of the Usos as champion. They've been long-term champions, but their gimmick is just.
Yeah, but
I don't think they really
New Day's
deliver.
Already been titled. They were champions a little while ago for a long time. I don't why put the titles on them again. I don't know,
because they sold those. They held the belts for a long period of time, and people never wanted to see them relinquish it. The Usos have held the belts for a long period of time, and no one even wanted to see them have it for a short period of time.
Here's my thing. Where the hell is American Alpha? Well, I mean, they're in the doghouse apparently because they're not even on. They're not even on the card.
Brandon, I'm sorry to break this news to you, and this may break your heart, but American Alpha, to me, is donezo. They're finito. I'm surprised they're even still, like, under WWE contract. Like, their whole run, their juice is gone, to me. And I'm not going to speak for Jared. Jared can speak for himself on this. But for me personally, American Alpha is donezo. They came in, and I'm like, wow. They came in like a